When the grid goes down, the streets outside turn hostile, and the elevators stop running, you're not bugging out, you're locking in. Because for millions of people living in apartments or condos, the whole run to the woods with a bug-out bag fantasy just doesn't apply. You have neighbors on all sides, limited space, no backyard, and maybe one way in or out. That's why real preppers know. Bugging in takes just as much planning as bugging out and in tight quarters. Every item has to pull double or triple duty. So if you're planning to ride out the next lockdown, blackout, or supply chain collapse from the 8th floor, this list is for you. Let's get into the 10 must-have categories that could literally save your life when the grid fails and your apartment becomes your bunker. Number 1, fortify your apartment entry like a mini safehouse. In an apartment, your front door is more than just an entryway. It's your only true barrier between safety and chaos. When the grid fails, when civil unrest erupts, or when the desperate start knocking, the thin line of defense that is your front door better be ready. Unlike homes with fences or yards, apartment dwellers deal with shared hallways and zero distance from neighbors. That makes fortification priority number 1. Start by reinforcing your door from the inside. A heavy-duty door security bar or adjustable door jammer creates instant resistance to forced entry. No screws, no drills. They wedge under your doorknob or brace against the floor and require zero electricity to function. Ideal for renters who can't modify structures. Pair that with a strike plate upgrade and 3-inch steel screws drilled into your door frame studs. Most doors are held by 1/2-inch screws, shockingly weak when tested. Upgrading turns your entry from breakable to bulletproof. Visibility matters too. Install a peephole camera or wide-angle lens viewer. Know who's out there before you decide to open. Some smart peephole cameras even record footage, handy for post-event assessments. Windows in apartments are often street-facing or shared wall exposed. Apply security window film to resist break-ins or blasts. It's invisible but holds shattered glass together during impacts, whether that's a looter or a hurricane. Add blackout curtains to every window. When the lights go out citywide, any glow from a lantern or screen inside your apartment paints a target on your back. Keep the light in and curiosity out. Then, get creative. Your box spring or mattress isn't just for sleeping. It can be flipped and pressed against doors for added barricade strength. Use heavy furniture like bookshelves or dressers to block secondary entry points such as patio sliders or hallway access. It's low-tech defense that works under pressure. Lastly, apply the psychology of security. A fortified door with visible defenses signals to outsiders that you're not the easiest target. In a crisis, predators look for the path of least resistance. Your goal is to make sure they keep moving. Number 2, apartment smart water storage and purification. Water is non-negotiable, and in an apartment grid-down scenario, it's your most critical asset. No backyard well, no rain barrel out back. Once the taps dry up, your clock starts ticking. The average human can survive 3 weeks without food, but only 3 days without water. That makes water storage and purification your number 1 priority. So how do you store weeks' worth of water in a space that barely holds your furniture? You plan smart. Begin with stackable water containers like Water Bricks or Reliance Aquatainers. These are designed for tight quarters. They fit under beds, inside closets, or behind couches. Each holds 3 to 7 gallons and can be stacked like Lego bricks. With just a few square feet, you can store 30-plus gallons of clean water. Don't overlook your bathtub. Keep a water bob or aquapod kit in your closet. These emergency liners unfold and fill the entire tub with up to 100 gallons of water, sealed, clean, and usable for weeks. As soon as you get word of a disruption, deploy it. Don't wait until water pressure disappears. Storage is only half the battle. You'll also need a way to make questionable water safe to drink. Enter the gravity-fed water filter, like the Berkey, Sawyer, or Katadyn. These units don't require electricity, filter hundreds of gallons, and remove bacteria, protozoa, and chemicals. Keep a set of purification tablets or iodine drops on hand too. They take up no space and serve as lightweight backups. If you have a balcony, use it. A tarp and bungee cord system or even a simple plastic tote can collect rainwater. It's free, renewable, and doesn't take much gear. Just remember, always filter or purify before using. Organization matters. Label water containers clearly: drinking, hygiene, cleaning. Use colored duct tape or permanent marker to avoid mix-ups in a high-stress situation. Store them in separate zones so you're not digging through emergency toilet water to find something to drink. Finally, rotate your supply every 6 to 12 months. Add a drop of bleach per gallon if storing long-term, and always treat your first-use water with extra care. No backup plan means no second chance. Number 3, apartment-safe, shelf-stable, and low-odor food. In an apartment, your pantry isn't just food storage, it's a stealth operation. There are no backyard pantries or cellars. Everything has to be compact, calorie efficient, and ideally scent neutral. Because when the power goes out and the vents stop filtering, every spicy whiff becomes a loudspeaker telling your neighbors, there's food in here. That's why freeze-dried meals are gold. Brands like Mountain House or ReadyWise deliver full meals in pouches that last 20-30 years, stack like books, and only require hot water to prep. They smell less than cooked meat or canned chili, and cleanup is zero. For bonus stealth, store them in opaque bins under your bed or in high closets, far from prying eyes. MREs are your next best ally. The civilian versions come with flameless heaters, require no kitchen tools, and are totally self-contained. You could eat one in total darkness without alerting a soul. Pair these with low-odor staples: oats, white rice, lentils, mashed potatoes, and powdered soups. They're filling, easy to prep, and won't betray you through the walls. Canned protein like tuna and chicken is useful, but eat cold and ventilate, or mix it into rice to dampen the smell. Nut butters are essential here too. Calorie-dense, shelf-stable, and completely no-cook. Whether it's peanut butter or almond butter, they're quiet survival fuel. Need to round it out? Add powdered milk and powdered eggs. These are compact sources of protein, good for baking or bulking up basic meals. And with a thermal cooker or insulated jar, you can boil water once and let it cook food slowly, saving fuel and reducing airborne aromas. Use drawer dividers, closet tops, and under-the-bed tubs to separate foods by type and expiration. Label clearly. Rotate seasonally. Bottom line, your food preps shouldn't just fill your stomach, they need to protect your cover. Quiet meals, tight storage, low scent. That's how apartment preppers survive without lighting a dinner beacon to the entire building. Number 4, safe, compact cooking without drawing heat. Literally no power, no microwave, no stove, and no grilling on a balcony unless you want a building citation or worse. For apartment dwellers, off-grid cooking during a blackout must be compact, discreet, and above all, safe. Enter the butane stove. Small, fast heating, and ideal for stovetop basics. It tucks away in a drawer, lights with a spark, and can boil water or heat up soup in minutes, but never ever use it in a sealed room. Crack a window or door. Carbon monoxide is silent, and in an apartment, deadly. A portable alcohol stove is a quieter, odorless alternative, often better for tightly sealed units. No airflow at all? Use sterno cans or solid fuel cubes. They're labeled safe for indoor use, especially in chafing setups. You won't make gourmet meals, but you can heat up a can of soup or rehydrate freeze-dried rations without setting off alarms or neighbors. Want stealth and fuel efficiency? Add a thermal cooker to your stash. Boil food quickly, seal it in, and let it slow cook without flame or electricity. No ongoing heat, no smell. Maximum resource savings. Now the essentials: a manual can opener, no exceptions, and a mess kit. 1 pot, 1 cup, 1 set of utensils. Go for nesting stainless or titanium kits. Lightweight, stackable, space-friendly. Then comes the safety net. Keep a compact fire extinguisher and a fire blanket within arm's reach. Fire spreads fast in tight units, and seconds matter. One mistake with a stove or fuel cube can turn your prepping into a building-wide crisis. And let's talk smell again, because it's security. Even boiling rice can draw noses and knockers to your door. Stick to low-odor meals. Boil water instead of frying. Seal leftovers fast. If your neighbor can smell it, they might soon expect to share it. Number 5, Apartment Smart Light and Power Backup. In a high-rise blackout, darkness takes on a whole new meaning. No hallway glow, no neighbor lights bleeding through the windows, just pitch black, and with that, confusion, danger, and isolation. Your entire apartment becomes a blind spot, and if you don't have a backup plan for light and power, you're stuck, cold, vulnerable, and flying blind. Start with the non-negotiables, a crank-powered flashlight radio combo. It's not high-tech, it's high survival. A few turns of the handle, and you've got directional light to move safely and access to emergency broadcasts, even if everything else fails. It requires no batteries, no grid, no sunlight. In a worst-case scenario, it just works. But let's upgrade from handhelds. You need stable, ambient light. Go for LED lanterns, collapsible models that run on AA or APOA batteries. These batteries are affordable, easy to rotate, and widely available. Look for lanterns with dimmable settings and runtime of 100+ hours on low mode. Place one in each room or prep zone and make sure you test them monthly. Now onto power. Your phone isn't just for calls, it's your flashlight, your map, your comms, your brain. That's why at least 2 rechargeable power banks should be stocked, labeled, and rotated every 30 days. Go for 10,000 mAh or higher capacity. Store them in cool, dry places and check charge levels routinely to keep those banks alive when the grid doesn't come back. Invest in a compact solar panel charger, ideally one that fits in a window or balcony. These are slow, sure, but a few hours of sunlight can restore 10-20% charge, enough to send a message, check maps, or power a light. And yes, candles still have a place. Emergency candles or oil lamps provide quiet, steady light, but they require discipline. Only use in well-ventilated areas. Keep away from drapes, kids, and anything flammable. Put them on ceramic plates or shallow bowls of water to contain wax and flames. Fire is still the biggest threat in tight spaces. Bottom line, when the lights go out in your building, you need to control your space, not fumble around it. Prep layered, redundant systems that give you light, power, and peace of mind. Test now, not later. Number 6, grid down sanitation for apartments. Here's a prepping truth no one likes to talk about. When the grid fails long enough, your plumbing isn't a feature. It's a failure waiting to happen. In apartments, sewage systems rely on pumps. Elevators fail. Water pressure drops. Toilets clog or backflow. That's not hypothetical. That's physics. And it turns a comfy unit into a biohazard in under 72 hours. Your first defense? A 5-gallon bucket. Get 2 if you can. Add a snap-on toilet seat lid to instantly turn it into a functioning emergency toilet. Line it with 2 contractor-grade trash bags per use. Don't skimp. Thin bags leak, tear, and ruin everything around them. Between uses, throw in a scoop of kitty litter, sawdust, or even shredded cardboard. This soaks moisture, mutes smells, and makes life in a no-flush apartment tolerable. Store your setup in your tub, closet, or unused corner, and keep it discreet but accessible. Have a backup stock of at least 30-40 heavy-duty bags. You'll rotate them daily and use them for other containment tasks, like isolating contaminated items or handling messes from illness or injury. In a real SHTF scenario, those bags become infection control tools, not just trash liners. Then, add wipes. Wipes are your water replacement. Baby wipes, antibacterial surface wipes, and body wipes will replace your bathroom, your sink, and your disinfectant spray all in one. Stock by the box, not the pack. Toilet paper is still essential, but think function over hoarding. 2 bulk packs per person can last months when rationed right. For women, don't neglect feminine hygiene. Pads, tampons, or reusable menstrual cups. Store at least a 2-month supply per person. Then there's cleaning. Bleach or a heavy-duty disinfectant is vital. After every bucket change, every sick day, every spill, you need to wipe down, sanitize, and control bacterial growth. Pair that with nitrile gloves. They're cheap, compact, and will protect your hands from cross-contamination in ways nothing else can. This isn't about luxury, it's about livability. A proper sanitation system keeps your space habitable and your health intact. And when the entire building starts smelling like panic, the apartment with a clean, quiet, contained setup, that's the apartment that wins. Number 7, first aid and medical preps for grid-down survival. When you're bugging in during a true SHTF situation, forget calling 911. Emergency lines may be jammed, hospitals might be shut down or inaccessible, and local clinics could be overwhelmed or running on fumes. In that moment, you become your own first responder. Nurse, pharmacist, and caregiver all rolled into one. That's why building a real, apartment-optimized medical setup isn't optional. It's non-negotiable. Start with the backbone, a trauma-level first aid kit. This isn't your glove box kit with 2 Band-Aids and an alcohol wipe. You need wound closure strips, sterile gauze pads, burn dressings, antiseptic spray, irrigation syringes, medical shears, splints, and a digital thermometer. Add in hemostatic gauze, tourniquets, and pressure dressings. These aren't just for combat injuries, they're for kitchen mishaps, falls, or accidents when help is days away. Storage tip: use labeled bins under the bed, stackable plastic drawers in closets, or hanging shoe organizers for small item sorting. Apartment prepping demands vertical storage. Don't let square footage limit your readiness. Next, prescription meds. You should always aim for a 30-90-day supply of your essential medications. Whether it's insulin, asthma inhalers, thyroid pills, or blood pressure meds, these are often the first lifeline to disappear in a disaster. Talk to your doctor now about emergency reserves. Store these in a temperature-stable area, and if refrigeration is needed, prep backup methods like a battery-powered mini fridge or thermal coolers. Now plug the OTC gaps: ibuprofen, acetaminophen, aspirin for emergencies and blood thinning, allergy meds, antidiarrheals, antacids, flu cold relief, electrolyte powder, laxatives, and wound care cream. Don't forget children's versions of key meds if you've got young ones. PPE is vital in tight quarters. Stock surgical masks, N95s, nitrile gloves, and even a couple of plastic face shields. In case of flu, foodborne illness, or an injury, you'll need them to isolate a sick person or treat wounds safely. And don't count on Dr. Google. Download PDFs of basic medical manuals and print key pages. Keep Where There Is No Doctor or Survival Medicine Handbook in hard copy. Include a small notebook for medical logs, vitals, dosages, symptoms. Number 8. Apartment-based comms and situational awareness. In an apartment lockdown, information becomes currency. When the internet cuts out and phones stop working, people panic. But if you've prepped properly, you'll still be plugged into what matters: who's nearby, what's happening outside, and how far danger is from your door. Start with a hand crank or battery-powered no AA emergency radio. Not just a weather tool, these radios broadcast local emergencies, civil alerts, evacuation orders, and more. Models that include AM, FM shortwave bands and built-in solar panels or USB charging ports offer maximum flexibility. Don't rely on apps or cell towers. This is old-school tech that still wins in a blackout. Now modernize your local comms. Download Bluetooth mesh communication apps like Bridgefy, Briar, or Meshtastic. These allow texting between devices without internet or cell service, perfect for urban environments. If you and your neighbors install them in advance, you can quietly create a building-wide or block-wide messaging network that's invisible to outsiders. Keep your digital maps offline ready. Use apps like Gaia GPS or Maps.me to store top-down layouts of your neighborhood, escape routes, water sources, hospitals, and potential bug-out corridors. Create backups on multiple devices if possible, and always mark routes to emergency services. Print a physical contact sheet. Names, numbers, radio frequencies, emergency channels, building managers, maintenance crew, nearby friends, and trusted neighbors. If your phone dies or memory fails, this low-tech backup could save time or lives. Laminate it or tuck it in a waterproof sleeve with your comms gear. Want a situational edge? Set up passive surveillance inside your apartment. Simple peephole cameras or stick-on motion sensors can alert you to hallway traffic or intrusion attempts. Pair this with a window line-of-sight log, what vehicles are coming, what's happening outside, to track movement patterns or threats. And finally, assign roles. If you're with family or roommates, one person should be responsible for scanning radio updates twice daily. Log key info like blackout durations, civil unrest hotspots, or weather shifts in a journal. Situational awareness isn't about paranoia, it's about prediction and preparation. Your apartment may be physically boxed in, but if you maintain comms and awareness, you won't be trapped in the dark. You'll be ahead of the curve while everyone else is scrambling. Number 9. Climate control and insulation in a powerless apartment. When the grid goes down, your apartment doesn't automatically become a bunker. In fact, it often becomes a temperature trap. Without centralized heating or cooling, you're suddenly exposed to the full force of outdoor weather. Except now, you're sealed in a concrete and glass box with no thermostat. So, climate control in a bug-in scenario isn't just about comfort, it's about survival. In cold climates, heat retention is your top priority. Most of your apartment's warmth escapes through windows, exterior walls, and even floors. That's why space blankets, those shiny Mylar lifesavers, should be in every prepper's bin. Tape them over windows to reflect body heat back into the room. Layer that with heavy drapes, blankets, or even towels to create insulation barriers. If you don't have thick curtains, you can hang extra bed sheets or tapestries to do the job. Next level move? Pitch a tent inside your apartment. A family-sized tent or even a solo bivvy setup in the living room, padded with blankets and surrounded by sleeping bags, becomes your microclimate. Body heat alone can raise the internal temperature by several degrees. Add in pets, and you've got a makeshift heated dome. A tent within a tent, or room inside a room, setup is an ancient cold weather survival trick modern preppers swear by. Thermal base layers, wool socks, knit hats, and gloves should all be stored and rotated. Focus on heat conservation, not production. And don't forget chemical hand warmers. They're cheap, shelf-stable, and provide instant warmth in an emergency. In hot weather, the goal flips: heat rejection and airflow. Start with light-blocking curtains or blackout panels to keep solar radiation from turning your apartment into a furnace. Reflective window films can also reduce indoor heat gain. A USB-powered fan paired with a solar charger or battery bank becomes invaluable. Strategically placed, it creates a consistent air loop even when the power is out. Want to get creative? Rig a DIY evaporative cooler. Soak a towel in water, hang it in front of your fan, and place a pan of ice below. The airflow across the wet surface produces a noticeable cooling effect. It's not AC, but in a sealed apartment during a heat wave, it's a lifesaver. Lastly, keep tarps and duct tape handy. They're not just for window sealing. You can isolate one room as your climate control zone. Insulate the door cracks, use blankets under thresholds, and convert a single space into a survivable core where you spend most of your time. No one thinks of climate until it's too late, but in a long blackout, temperature becomes a threat all its own. Prep for it, insulate against it, and reclaim your comfort zone before nature takes it away. Number 10, psychological and social fortification, the hidden lifeline. You can stack food to the ceiling and stash gallons of water under every bed, but if your mental state collapses, your survival plan goes with it. The truth is, bugging in for weeks, especially in a confined, isolated apartment, will test your psychology as much as your supplies. Anxiety, boredom, depression, and cabin fever are real threats, and unless you're prepared for them, they can erode your ability to function or even stay sane. First, feed your mind. Stock physical books, not e-books that need charging. Fiction provides escape. Nonfiction keeps your brain active. Survival manuals sharpen skills. Even comics serve as welcome breaks from tension. For bonus points, add coloring books. They're calming, immersive, and great for adults too. Next, games and puzzles. Card decks, board games, crosswords, Sudoku books. These things seem silly until you're on day 5 of silence, and suddenly a 15-minute game of solitaire feels like therapy. Bonus, if your games require group play, they help maintain healthy interaction patterns with family or roommates. Speaking of interaction, let's talk structure. If you're bugging in with others, define roles early. Daily cleaning, ration tracking, fire safety, water checks, assign and rotate them. This gives everyone a sense of purpose and prevents bug-in burnout, where one person carries the load and resentment festers. Living solo, pre-plan light-touch communication strategies, flashlight signals through windows, quiet knock codes with a trusted neighbor, a small dry erase board for shared messages. These keep you looped in without blowing your OPSEC or drawing attention. And if you haven't already, now's the time to quietly identify potential allies in your building. Now on to journaling, arguably one of the most overlooked tools in mental survival. Keeping a daily log of activities, weather, thoughts, or just sketches provides emotional release and cognitive clarity. It's also a way to track what's working, what's not, and what's shifting in your environment. Finally, stash morale boosters. Instant coffee packets, tea bags, chocolate bars, hard candies, even mini bottles of hot sauce or a favorite spice mix. These aren't just for flavor, they're for morale. One warm drink can shift the tone of a tense evening. A square of chocolate can diffuse an argument. Pets? Treat them like part of your resilience team. Their routines, food, and interaction needs should be prepped for just like yours. They stabilize emotions and reduce anxiety. In the end, bugging in is a mind game as much as a logistics one. You don't just need gear, you need grit. And the preppers who last the longest aren't always the strongest or most stocked. They're the ones who built a fortress not just for their bodies, but for their minds. Your apartment can either be a trap or a fortress. The difference isn't luck, it's preparation. And the time to prep isn't when the sirens start blaring or the grid goes down. It's now while the lights are still on and the shelves are still stocked. Start building your bug-in setup piece by piece. Walk your space, spot the weak points, fill the gaps, because when movement outside becomes dangerous and bugging out isn't an option, this plan becomes your lifeline. If this helped even a little, hit that subscribe button and tap the bell, because we've got more no-fluff prepping guides coming your way. And tell me in the comments, what's the one apartment prep you know you're missing but haven't tackled yet? Let's help each other before we're all locked in for real.